Oh, hello there, YouTube. Great to see you again. We're back here at OPEX Gatwick. I have gone through with you my new kind of structure and set up for lower body sessions. I then, about 2 weeks later, did the same for upper body. And now, about 2 or 3 weeks later, soz Christmas and New Year, I'm going to go through with you my new approach to conditioning sessions. So basically, the upper body and the lower body had kind of a similar structure with the strength EMOM at the beginning, then a mid-range giant set, and then kind of a pump finisher focused on kind of lactic tolerance and that kind of stuff with both, but set up obviously slightly differently for upper body push-pull stuff, and then lower body kind of quad-based and posterior chain. You go watch the videos. And today what we are going to do is basically kind of go over, it's not really a similar structure obviously in terms of strength, upper and lower are fairly similar, but the fact that this is conditioning, this is kind of standalone in the way that it is programmed. Quick warm-up from me, and then we are going to get cracking. Going on team, nice little spicy warm-up done. That was just 2 rounds of my chosen exercises. We had the curve runner, we had the assault bike, we had some dumbbell push press, and then we had some hanging tucks as well. 2 rounds of that, then a few kind of mobility exercises, a few drills, and we are all good to go. Moving on to then the real meaty stuff and the reason why you're here. A structure of my conditioning workout. This is the first section. So basically I will say now that my conditioning workouts are basically split into 3 different sections. This here that you're looking at the board right now is just section 1, and it's broken up into 3 different sections for one primary reason, and that is to vary the work to rest ratio. I've kind of covered this briefly or alluded to the fact that that is kind of a closely held dear principle for me. And I basically like to start off with the one that is effectively with the least rest and the least intense. And in any kind of conditioning workout, that would effectively be something that is steady state if possible. So I'm doing an AMRAP now. I'm going to do 1 lunge length, just body weight lunges. I don't know why I put 1 times lunge length times 1. It's Sunday, all right? Back off. Then we have HR push-ups. They are hand release push-ups. I did this in a hero WOD recently called Lupo and Flipper Neck. Like, it made me realise that I know anyway that my endurance isn't amazing. I know that overall I'm predisposed to being quite an elastic athlete. And when you do hand release push-ups, you kind of take that stretch reflex out of it. Bloody hell, they're hard. They were hard for me anyway. So 12 of those, 12 calories on the ski, 12 Rooney sits, and then 20 American kettlebell swings and an AMRAP for 15 minutes. This is the one where effectively I find a nice kind of challenging but sustainable pace for most of it. And then around about kind of minute 13:30 with about 90 seconds to go. Excuse me, that's when I'm going to start to inject a little bit more speed into it, just up the ante for the next 60 seconds, and then when I've got 30 seconds left to go, or 20, that's when it's all out. So even when I do AMRAP stuff, you've always got a little bit in the tank. That's kind of the whole point, that it's a sustainable pace. I just want to inject a little bit of speed into that final little push. So I'm just going to get the kit ready, and then we'll crack on in a second. One length of lunges isn't enough, so I've changed it to 2. is the AMRAP done. Boom. Spicy, spicy. 15 minutes. I think I paced it okay. Maybe a little bit too conservative for the main part, because I'm not massively battered now. Actually, I was just moving the camera a bit and stuff. I'm here on my Todd today, but overall, that's a good AMRAP. I realised I was going a bit too slow, a bit too conservative, a bit too overly cautious around about kind of 10 minutes. So for the next 5 minutes, I definitely increase the pace, even slightly, just to get enough of an output, quicker transitions on and off the floor, a little bit snappier. Rooney sits, which you saw. If you are not familiar with those, I don't actually know what they're called, but I learned them from a course that I did with a guy called Martin Rooney from Training for Warriors. Absolute flipping fitness industry legend. If you don't know who he is, definitely look him up. 15-minute AMRAP. Definitely sprinted towards the end. The last 2 rounds on the skio, obviously that's the one where you're kind of getting live feedback of how fast you're going. You can kind of do it kinesthetically. You can feel yourself going a little bit quicker or slower on some bodyweight exercises, but on the erg kit, there's nowhere to hide. It's literally telling you how quickly you're going. On the last 2 rounds, definitely felt a little bit snappier. I'll rehydrate for a second, keep some blood pumping, and then we'll go on to section 2 of today's conditioning session. The AMRAP is done. We are on to section 2 of today's conditioning session. As I kind of alluded to a little bit earlier, the reason that we're splitting these up is basically to vary the work to rest ratio within these kind of different sections. So we've done the steady state bit in the form of an AMRAP. It's kind of the only way you can do steady state unless you're doing what's called monostructure, where you're basically just doing one movement or one piece of erg kit or a run or something like that, and then you're keeping a steady pace. But you can still do steady state, because even though the movements change in the AMRAP that we've just done, your heart rate's kind of staying around about the same level. So that's steady state, even though the modality that you're doing is different, you see what I mean? But section 2, we're going to vary it, and we are on to an EMOM. Every minute on the minute, and I have labelled this C3 or CCC, which is usually, I do a lot of these, I'm kind of mixing it up slightly today in the way I deliver it, ironically. But I actually got this from Andrew Tracy, Senior Fitness Editor at Men's Health, on one of his Instagram posts sometime last year. And it basically stands for compound carry condition. And if you kind of split a workout into those 3 sections, you're kind of golden. Usually with a compound, it's a barbell exercise. We're up here at OPEX Gatwick. I'm trying my darndest to not bring barbells up here. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a D-ball to the shoulder. We've got a 60 kilo sandbag there, so effectively sandbag to the shoulder for 8. So I'll alternate, so up onto the shoulder, other arm extended. That's basically just kind of show control, and then ditch in front of you. So 8 of those. A sled push times 3, or sled push and pull. So the first one will be 2 pushes and 1 pull, and then it'll kind of be left at the other end, and the next time we go through it'll be 2 pulls and 1 push. But effectively kind of 3 lengths, either push or pull, because we've got the harness slings at the back. So effectively that's kind of the carry. So I know everything's a little bit different here. But, you know, be creative, right? And then 250 meters on the curve runner, and a rest to finish. So I like breaking it up into 4 different sections, with the 4th minute effectively being a rest minute, which means the 3rd station, you have, like, your target is to set a certain distance. I've completely made that up, by the way. I have no idea how long it's going to take me to do 250 meters, but roughly I'm looking for anywhere around 50 to 55 seconds. So that 3rd station, obviously 40-ish seconds is what I kind of aim for on an EMOM, so you've got 20 seconds break. And then the last one, I want anywhere up to about bloody 59. So I really flipping earn that 4th minute of rest to recover. So even though it says 250 meters, I have no idea. I'll just try and kind of maintain, excuse me, a fairly cheeky pace for about 50 seconds, and then see where we are, and then try and kind of maintain that as the rounds progress. And 4 of those, so it's not steady state, because you do get a rest. The modalities are changing. It is still weighted as well, so that's one thing I like to do in my EMOMs. The AMRAP is very much body weight, just body weight and cardio stuff. This one, it's a little bit more resisted, so this is kind of like heavy cardio. And it's just something I like to do in my EMOMs, is chuck a little bit of resistance in there, especially in the functional fitness world. You need to still be able to lift and move and carry while you're under fatigue and while you're panting. So you've almost got to develop that ability to kind of like abdominally brace when you're out of breath, and that's definitely something I'm going to be doing on the D-ball to the shoulders with this. So 4 rounds of this 4-minute block. Let's get cracking. Well, that was pretty much flipping pure bloody spice, that was. It was cheeky, man, pretty much from the off, actually, the first round with a D-ball to the shoulders for 8. And after round 1, I was like, bloody hell, there's really no way of like mitigating how much this sucks. And straight from that, and obviously you're kind of bent over then picking up, so you can't really kind of keep a nice long torso and breathe through that. And then straight into the sled, that's low, that was all right. Rounds 1 and 3 were definitely harder, and rounds 2 and 4 were a bit easier, because it's easier to pull a sled than push it. Less total output, I think gravity's doing most of the work, and it's just quicker. So obviously rounds 1 and 3 were where, of the 3 lengths, 2 of them were a push and 1 of them was a pull. And then rounds 2 and 4, 2 of them were a pull and 1 of them was a push, so it was a little bit easier. And then straight from the sled into the curve, I was worried a little bit about the lactic in my legs, but that was kind of the purpose. I wanted to see how I could run, not just kind of energetic output, but form. And obviously it's in front of the window, which at this time of night with a black window is basically like a mirror. And it actually wasn't too bad, the lactic wasn't too bad. I did get 250 meters, I got that in all of them. It was definitely quicker on the last one. Again, I think whatever your cardio modality, whether or not it is super short, sharp sprints, EMOMs, AMRAPs, whatever, when it's about to finish, so obviously I've broken today's conditioning section into 3, or conditioning session into 3 sections, I should say, as I've already shared with you. And I've got about 3, 4, 5 minutes between, basically. So that's enough time to recover. So the last little section of everything, so the last round on the AMRAP, the last kind of 60, 90 seconds on that. And on this one, the final curve run rep, basically just make sure you've got to inject a little bit of speed. There's no point finishing any cardio output set of more than about 5 minutes at the same pace that you started it. Like Mo Farah wouldn't run a 10K and then cross the line and do the last 100 meters the same speed as the first 100. Obviously you don't want to go out too hot, but you've always got a little bit more anaerobic energy in the tank. That's what a sprint finish is. And I just think it's underutilized. I think everyone should kind of try and develop a sense of what their challenging but sustainable pace is for the majority of their kind of like steady state work, but also know that the last 20 seconds, you know, your anaerobic sprint finish is also, like everything else, susceptible to training. So you've just got to put the work in, excuse me, to make sure that stuff is regularly kind of executed, and you get used to hitting it hard that last 20 seconds. Short break now, rehydrate again, and then we shall be getting on to section 3, the final section of today's cardio day. Yes, team, so the AMRAP is done, the EMOM is done. We are now on to section 3, sprints. I'm a big fan of this stuff, not only because sprinting and bobsleigh is my background, but I've also got 2 endurance world records, and I used to be a Royal Marine, so I've got a fair kind of taste of endurance work as well. And I still believe, and I'm quite outspoken about the fact that, excuse me, speed work is unbelievably underrated. If you are if you're a CrossFitter or entering into a functional fitness competition, I believe super short bursts of energy with a long enough recovery that you kind of get back up to a decent level of power is, I don't see them being done that often. So in terms of what would be kind of categorized and what would be classified as a sprint, that for me kind of changes, and I work up and down the spectrum. But today I'm going to go for 10 seconds on and 80 seconds off, which is like, that's what I mean, super short kind of bursts of speed, quick kind of massive outpourings of energy. And with that, one of the things I'll say is this: the top end speed that you're going to find on a curve runner, as an example, would probably be the same. Like, you will hit the top speed if you do it for 10 seconds, or if you do it for kind of 15 or 20, because you will make sure there's a small bit of time that is like super explosive. But when you've only got 10 seconds, I want it to be a little bit triggering for a lot of kind of functional fitness athletes out there, a little bit kind of challenging for some recreational bodybuilders or even people prepping for the military and be like, God, that's not much time. No, it's not, you're right. So use that 10-second window as an opportunity to focus on acceleration. So basically, don't just worry about kind of getting up to that top speed, or don't worry about hitting that top speed. Sorry, try and be concerned and try and focus on getting up to that top speed as quick as possible. So drop and drive and stay a little bit lower and be in a dry phase a little bit longer. On the curve runner, if it's something on an assault bike, it's not going to be up and tall, it's going to be down and really using your body weight. So make sure that you try to get up to top speed by about second 3. That's the focus, because any erg kit's going to be ticking over a certain amount anyway. You've got to overcome that initial inertia. Same with a sled. If you're pushing a sled for like 50 meters or for 20, so you just say only one rep, literally only one rep of this and then the session's done, go, you'll probably hit similar to top speed. But what I would want someone to focus on is making sure that they get up to that top speed as quick as possible. So we're only going to do 10 seconds on with 80 seconds off, and 3 rounds of each. We're going to do 3 rounds on the curve runner and then 3 rounds in the assault bike. That is not too much. That is 60 seconds worth of total work within like a 9-minute kind of time window. But trust me, these things should be the only, if you look at the only metric of success of a training session, if you're fucked at the end of it, you're not going to progress and you're not going to improve your performance. Everything that you do needs to be reverse engineered from a particular objective. Having rapid acceleration and actually improving your maximal power output is a very, very, very worthy objective and a worthy pursuit, and this is the only way you're going to get there. You're not going to get there with a 15-minute EMOM. I know 15, 60-minute EMOM is what we just did, but that wasn't the goal. This is the goal now, which is why this is what we're doing. Really hope that makes sense, guys. Again, I implore you, do not only think, especially if you're fairly new to kind of CrossFit and functional fitness, do not think that the only way you can show that a session is good is if you're ball bagged at the end of it. Because all you're going to do is put yourself in the bin very, very quickly, and then you're going to stay there. Right, guys.
Could you say that again? My apologies. I couldn't hear what you said.
They hear everything. Right, guys, get in position. I'm going to get the camera in position because I don't really want to move you around too much. I'm 80 seconds off. I just want to kind of hang over the flipping banister on the curve runner for the first bit. So let's get cracking with section 3. Curve run done, 3 rounds of that. That wasn't too bad actually. It's quite hard to get up to full speed. It's not the same as running on the road, but I very much like them. I like the fact that it's kind of athlete powered and not like belt fed electrically, so you are dictating the speed. I like the fact that it's on a curve, so it's a little bit less impact, and you're kind of striking the foot a little bit higher, but still hopefully underneath you, and using that to kind of claw away back at the ground. Nice and spicy. Obviously not a massive range of motion, but quite heavy on impact. So let's move over to something that's opposite on both of those. It's got a lot of range of motion, but very low impact. And 3 rounds of 10 seconds on the assault bike. This is gonna suck. And there we have it, guys. That is my conditioning session done. Started off with a good comprehensive warm-up, as always. And then we moved into an AMRAP, 15-minute AMRAP. Mixed modality, so doing some different stuff. Some of it was leg, a little bit of core, a little bit of upper body, a little bit of kind of like erg kit in there, so trying to kind of cover all bases. But in an AMRAP setting, we're only spending kind of, I don't know, 15 to 22, 25 seconds on each station before you move. 15-minute AMRAP for that. working on that steady state and working on transitioning from one exercise to the next nice and quick. Again, if you're a CrossFit or functional fitness athlete, if you're prepping for the military, if you just love kind of gym and fitness stuff generally, you're an enthusiast, that's a very, very good kind of habit to build. Just developing a little bit of urgency to move to the next one. We then went on to section 2 of the session, which was the EMOM, excuse me, the compound carry condition EMOM. The compound was a little bit weird because it was basically a D-ball to the shoulder. The carry was a little bit weird because it wasn't really a carry, it was a push. But you get what I mean, again, being creative. And the condition bit was a curve runner. And then finish off with some sprints on the curve runner again and on the assault bike. Work to rest ratios very much changing. So we started on the AMRAP steady state, then went to kind of, 2 to 1 work to rest. So mostly work, a little bit of rest in the form of the EMOM. And then we finished off with a sprint work at the end, which was very, very, very different, which was kind of, well, whatever the bloody hell that would be, like 1 part work, 8 parts rest. But again, all of them are relevant if you want to round out your game of kind of strength, fitness and athleticism. And I think within a conditioning session, developing all different kind of components and work to rest ratios within the same session, it's absolutely golden. Really hope you did enjoy that, guys. Hope you got some value from it. Any questions, as always, put them down in the comment section below. If you have not yet done so, please flip and subscribe. And if you want to do me the greatest honor of doing me a favor, which I very much appreciate, if you could share this video or one of your other favorites from my collection with someone else that you think would enjoy it just as much as you and get as much value from it as you hopefully did, I would be eternally grateful. Have an awesome day, guys. And as always, stay strong, stay healthy, stay awesome, and I'll see you soon.